Well, it's been a long few days. I got sick. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'll spare you all the details. But that's why I'm a little bit late on this Acolyte review. So let's go over it. Spoilers. Hopefully I don't get sick doing this review, but spoilers for this episode. So we leave off with where we were last week, where victim 1 and 2, May and Osha, do a parent trap. And so Osha nearly scalps herself with a lightsaber to cut her hair. And for whatever reason, she goes with Soul to go back to the Jedi Temple. Why she does this, I literally have no idea. If Soul is able to sense her as being May and not Osha, why did he turn his back on her? Why did he let her go? It doesn't matter. He gets on the ship with her. Meanwhile, Asian Ezra Miller, who we only know as the Stranger, he's the Sith guy with the Cortosis mask. He kidnaps Osha and takes her to unknown planet. At least that's what the show says it is. It says it's unknown planet. Bitch, you got to be kidding me, right? I know it's Ahch-Tuah. You don't want to call it Ahch-Tuah because you know that's going to be, you're going to get backlash from all the people who didn't like the Last Jedi. But guess what? You're probably going to get just as much backlash from all the people who did like the Last Jedi, because they're going to be like, why don't you just call it Ahch-Tuah? Everybody around the world is going to be saying, why don't you just call it Ahch-Tuah? Partially probably because it's disrespectful that you would have a Sith Lord go to Ahch-Tuah, as well as having Jake Skywalker go to Ahch-Tuah. Because that's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this island planet was, oh, Jake Skywalker. That's the Jake Skywalker planet. Why am I saying Jake Skywalker, not Luke Skywalker? Figure it out. So, they nearly step on these little creatures. We see these little squeaky creatures that look like rocks, almost. I don't know what they're called. I don't give a fuck what they're called, really. But they look like they evolved to be titty cows for Jake Skywalker to milk. And so that's all I could think about while they were on this island, on this unknown planet. It's Ahch-Tuah. Just get to the fucking point already. So Asian Ezra Miller, who, by the way, the dude's actually not that bad, right? He's actually, if he was in a better written show, he'd be fine, right? I think he's actually halfway decent. It's not that he's terrible or nothing. It's just, everything else around him is pretty shit. I'll say that. But so we spend most of the episode, which is not very long. These episodes are not very long, thank fuck. But at the same time, you're making an 8-part movie is what you're doing, an 8-part movie. But we spend most of this episode. It's either at the Jedi Temple with Master Vanestra Roe v. Wade, or it's with Saul and May doing some fuckery on a spaceship, which, by the way, the spaceship had terrible CGI. Remember back in the day when George Lucas used little minifigures to, show spaceships, and he used minifigures, right, to show perspective. It was brilliant filmmaking. Now we just use CGI that sets back visual effects about 30 or 40 years. It's crazy to think that Davy Jones and the Pirates of the Caribbean movies came out 20 years ago. When those movies came out 20 years ago, Davy Jones looked freaking great, and it has aged well compared to Disney Star Wars and the volume and all the other crazy effects that they do that are just shit. Most of the aliens in Disney Star Wars, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but most of the aliens in Disney Star Wars have no identity, right? That's why I'm not able to give names to these creatures on Ahch-Tuah, this unknown planet, because they're gray. They have no color. They have no texture. They're just gray, right? They have no character, much like most of the characters in the show as well. But Soul is he's either an idiot for not seeing that May is May and not Osha during this parent trap bullshit, or he's an idiot for allowing her to roam around and let the little badger thing, Basil is his name, the one with the pronouns, they're letting him figure it out, basically. It's so, I don't know how this is written by a human being, but here we are, Disney Star Wars. So Let's get to the points here. Let's get to the points because I'm rambling on because there's not much to talk about, right? There's not much to talk about. They're moving the show inch by inch. They're not making any progress with the story, right? There's very little progress, and it's so confusing that it's even hard to keep up with sometimes. It's mostly just fun to make fun of, but I'll do my best to describe what's happening here, right? So, Sol is trying to get a hold of the Jedi Temple to tell them that everybody he brought to Kofar, the planet where the Wookiee was on, they all died. Everyone's dead. And he probably should have mentioned to them, by the way, there's also a Sith Lord, roaming around. That'd be good to know, especially for people like Kiadi Mundi. Anyway, so as he's struggling to get a transmission across, I guess there's a blockage of transmission in space. Who would have fucking figured? And May, disguised as Osha, is going around the ship trying to set booby traps or whatever. And Basil's like, that's not the same twin, as if you couldn't tell by the giant spiral on her forehead. And then she boots up the pip droid that was Osha's pip droid, and she reprograms it to its natural factory setting, which is just evil corporation setting, really, because its eyes turn red. That's how you know it's evil. But Basil bites her leg and then runs away. The pip droid nuts on her face, which was really gross, by the way. That was gross to watch. But then after she tries to assassinate Sol on the ship with her baby knives, Sol turns it around and traps her. And I'm assuming there's more to Sol than we realize. And we're going to get to know more about him in probably a flashback. Assuming I give a fuck at that point, because I really don't. At this point, I'm just like, oh, wow, this is so stupid that I can't even be mad anymore, right? Like, there was a point during the show where I was a little bit mad, just a little bit. I mean, most of it, I've been apathetic. Then I turned a little bit angry, and now I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. It's just funny now. It's just like, it's just Spaceballs parody, right? It's just a fucking parody of itself. So, Sol ties down May and tells her, wait till next episode to see what happens. So then Osha, we find out that Osha got kidnapped by angry Sith guy who just wants to be seen. He just wants to do evil things and be seen doing them. I want representation. The Jedi will never accept me for being who I am. All that bullshit by a dude who just like slaughtered a bunch of Jedi, right? So it's not that the dude is particularly bad at I'm talking about the actor, that is. That he's actually doing a good job as playing a Sith Lord. But the character itself is just stupid. Like another dummy to add to the list of stupid people in the show. And we find out that Osha didn't just leave the Jedi Order. She failed the trials. At least I have to assume she failed the trials because she doesn't actually say what she failed. She just says, I failed, and nearly cuts his head off with a baton of a lightsaber. They're not even cutting anything. So, anyway, basically what they're trying to do is set up that Osha is vulnerable to the dark side. The Sith guy wants a pupil. He wants an apprentice. And there was a moment in there where he was like, you have a choice. You can either go away now. You have to swim to get to the ship, which I thought was funny because, Osha and May are both black. But you have to swim to get to the ship before sundown because that's when the tidal waves are starting to come in. And so we're assuming that Osha's going to get to know this guy a little bit better. We find out that his helmet is made of cortosis, to which Osha later puts the helmet on her face, the cortosis helmet on her face to, cosplay or something. Anyway, that's all we know is that they went to Unknown Island and found out about Sith stuff and people bad, emotions bad. Do Star Wars thing. Anyway, dark side, evil, Jedi, bad. All this fun stuff, right? Then we see Vanestra Rovey Wade, or we could call Nepo Jedi hire, who is Leslie Headland's wife, Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant's wife. She grabs up the nearest loyal white simp Jedi to go to Kofar for her. And once they go there, they find out that all the Jedi are dead and that they have to keep moving. I think there's a possibility that the Sith guy might have been Vanestra Rovey Wade's former Padawan, maybe. There's a chance at that. And what's funny is that they actually blame it on Soul, right? They blame all the murders of all the Jedi on Soul, which was interesting. We're probably going to see that unfold in the next couple episodes, if I give a fuck. But basically, they deduced that there was no Sith Lord, that Soul just turned on all of them. There was a fallen Jedi that turned on the other Jedi. That's head-assery. Head-assery that would make any fucking sense. But I guess, you know, they came to that conclusion because they were in such denial of the Sith. I can't imagine why. Can't imagine why. We also got to see a lightsaber whip. We got to see the lightsaber whip by Vanestra Roe v. Wade. And it was... People were complaining about it before. I didn't really give a fuck that much. I mean, I thought it was kind of I can understand the complaints of why it's stupid as a tool, but it's just like, it just looks gay. It just looks stupid, right? Like, that's all I can complain about it. I can't even be mad about that. It's hard for me to be mad about some of the shit in this show because it's just par for the course at this point. It's just what Disney Star Wars is. But I can almost guarantee you in the comments, somebody's going to see this video about maybe a minute or two in and start making comments about how I'm an alt-right bigot, or that I'm crying over Disney Star Wars again, or I just don't understand the lore. All this bullshit. And all I can say is, you can have it, weirdos. You can fucking keep Disney Star Wars for all I care. You know, you just go off, King. You do what you want to do, man. I'm chilling now. I'm beyond being angry at this point. What's to be angry about? The lore has been fucked so many times that it's hard to actually be emotional about it. So I'm just having fun. I'm having more fun roasting Disney Star Wars than you are watching my video roasting Disney Star Wars. You know? You see what I'm saying? So that's about as much as I could remember or muster up the courage to remember without watching a second time, because I really don't want to waste my fucking time on this show much more than I need to. So like, share, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't like what you heard, I am so sorry. Comment down below. Push the algorithm. Make my video go out there more. Find some more weirdos to piss off. So, hope you all have a good July 4th. I'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces. Don't smoke crack. It's been Tastic of the Dead, baby.